Facebook or Twitter, I'm constantly tweeting, probably about nonsense, but I can't help it, I'm addicted to it.
I'm interested in how the web is changing the most important but private part of our lives, our sex life.
Yeah!
In this film, I'm going to get right between the sheets of the secret world of Websex.
From sociable gas, the girls that actually don't talk, the normal gas that I need.
Gas?
It became quite addictive, and it was the danger and excitement of meeting up with random people.
I'll find out exactly who's doing what and try out the newest technology that's making more possible than ever before.
Oh God, it's a penis!
I'll ask big questions that up till now nobody knows the answer to. How many people are using the web in their sex lives? What exactly are they getting up to? And the biggest question of all, when I was growing up in Southend, we were always talking about dating, who fancies who, and where the best boys are likely to be found. But things have changed, and it's all thanks to technology. For example, this is just a little something I sent my boyfriend on my phone to remind him of me. It's no big secret that social networking has turned into sexual networking. I'm plunging right into this world so that I can meet some real people doing this stuff. This is 18-year-old Raph from Birmingham. For the last 2 years, he's been using every social networking platform he can lay his hands on just to target girls.
Yeah, they tell me I'm a bad boy.
With impressive results.
Altogether on my BlackBerry, I've probably got over like 95 women and probably got at least 7 on the go. Stick to one girl, that's ridiculous, I'm young, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have a phone or a BlackBerry or Facebook and not try and talk to females, it's just, who does that, you know what I mean? When I'm like browsing on Facebook, I just look for like any decent girl that actually looks pretty in their photos really. And if they're not decent, I don't even bother trying. And then I talk to them, get them on BlackBerry Messenger. I'll just be really cool with them, like see what they know, how their day was, all that blah blah. So I'm just gonna say, you wanna go cinema? Only Wednesday for Orange Wednesdays, because I don't spend money on girls. Never. I don't see anything wrong with trying to flirt and trying to have sex with girls. Like, we're all young teenage boys with high urges, you know what I mean? And girls are probably talking to boys as much as we're talking to them, you know what I mean?
Now I'm one of the girls who wants to talk to Raph. For our first meeting, he's promised to take me to one of his favourite places.
Hi, nice to meet you, I'm Natalie.
I'm Raph.
Are you okay?
Yeah, we're
Which turns out to be somewhere in the local woods. Where are we going?
Where are we? Why are we here?
at the valley. This is like the master bedroom, you know. Just sit there, just have a little personal chat and hopefully get something at the end of it.
Have you ever got anything?
Yeah, blowjob. 1 or 2 times, but...
How many girls have you put down here and got more than a snog?
If I'm not going to cinema, it's always here, so probably about 30, 40. 30, 40.
I have to admire Raph's organisational skills. He's turned his love life into a well-oiled machine.
The sociable gas, the girls that actually don't talk, the normal gas that I need, the special people, you know what I mean? I need to, like, categorise it.
They're called gas?
Yeah.
But it's not just text messages that Raph has to keep track of. Some girls send a whole lot more.
One girl was actually texting. She like kept on sending me like dirty photos when I was sending her dirty photos back.
What do you think about that?
They're just like retarded, like they're so stupid even saying girls' photos. Unless you're like in a relationship and you got that trust. But if you've got no trust with a boy, you don't know him. Why would you send a naked or dirty photo to a random guy, not knowing what the guy is, you know what I mean? That's what I don't get with girls, but that's how dumb they are. But when I do get the photos, that's when I like send it to my friends, like, oh, look what this girl sent me.
You pass them up?
It's like a level really. I've passed that girl, got on to the next one, you know what I mean? That's what work with them.
Wow.
But yeah.
So you consider girls like level?
Yeah, most of the time. Like, I love like writing them up on my list, like my famous list of Raph, I've done them.
Okay.
Raph's highly organised internet dating techniques are pretty shocking to me. I realise I'm probably the first girl he's come clean to about just how many women he's got in his sights.
Thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been really interesting.
I hope you enjoyed the spot.
Yeah, well, from what I've heard, I'm one of many. So you know.
It's great that Raph's been so honest with me. I've just never heard a guy talk that way about girls before. But I'm sure Raph's not the only bloke who goes for the maximum score in internet dating.
If you wanna get with me, there's some things you gotta know.
I want to hear as much as possible about the effect technology's having on people's sex lives. So I've invited lots of people together to talk openly, probably for the first time in their lives, about exactly what they're getting up to. So, who else has been sending sexy pictures?
Yeah, I have received explicit images.
I have sent an image in my underwear to a friend, and it felt okay because I trusted him.
In the past, when I have been sent images by girls, I have shown it to sort of my mates.
And what do girls think about the way boys flirt online?
How can you just add a girl without knowing who she is, knowing that she'll just give up sex, like, just because you added her? Like, I don't understand the concept of that at all.
They would say, oh, you're beautiful, you're this, you're the best looking girl I've ever seen.
I think guys use social networking for sex, and girls definitely use it to find someone that they connect with.
I see them as predators, to be honest with you.
But what I really want to know now is, how do girls get what they want out of flirting online? And at first sight, you might be mistaken for thinking that 18-year-old Cara is a female version of Raph. She's always got her head buried in her laptop or BlackBerry.
I'm addicted to my phone and Facebook. They're like my two best friends. I dread, the thought of my phone breaking.
But Cara's not just looking for meet with guys like Raph. She gets something else out of chatting to boys online. Bullying at school tore her confidence to shreds, and it only came back when she discovered that the computer in her bedroom unlocked a whole new world.
After school every day, I used to go home feeling really down about myself, and speaking to people online, kind of knowing that I have friends online, made me feel better about myself, because I could come out of the whole school environment and go home and just escape from it. Basically, I used to stick my head in my computer and not come out until I had to go to bed.
For Cara, the internet has helped her find guys who understand her and who she'd never normally meet.
I meet 2-3 new people a week, guys mainly.
So you sort of enjoy that flirtatious banter with a new person when you first start talking to them?
Yeah, I do, because it's like an easy and cheeky way of getting to know someone.
Do you get guys going, oh, you know?
Yeah, I get guys going, oh, you've got a brilliant figure, you could be you could do this, you could do that. And
how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. Yeah, right now it makes me feel, oh, really? But
so it's a massive confidence
boost. Yeah, it is. It is a confidence boost. But blokes, to try and get your attention, they'll do really, really weird things. Like they'll send like pictures through of themselves and stuff.
What, like nude ones?
Yeah, and I'm just like, ooh, that's disgusting.
So have you actually met any nice boys? You know, as in being your boyfriend?
Yeah, I have. There was my boyfriend previous to the one I have now, my ex, obviously. I met him on Facebook. It was an internet meet. And
internet ring then.
Yeah, it basically was.
So ultimately, are you looking for love online?
Yeah, I suppose ultimately everyone's looking for love.
So are these all pictures of you here?
These are my tagged photos, and they're
Is that you?
Yeah, that was me as a kid. That's so embarrassing. There were so many.
Chatting to guys on the web needs a different approach from the real world. So Cara's learnt new ways of dealing with some of them.
He's really creepy. So's he. Just thought you looked sexy from your pic, but now I see you've got a boyfriend, which is a massive shame, as I certainly would love you naked in my bed. And I just didn't reply. I just
up front and just put it out there.
I blocked him in the end, because I think he tried to message me after that. And
so you get that a lot, do you?
Yeah, I do get things like that quite a bit.
So do you find this whole thing really liberating, and you feel excited that guys that you don't know, telling you you're, buff or whatever?
Yeah, it's quite flattering. Yeah, it makes me feel good, as it would anyone, that someone is saying that to you.
Cara's been using social networking to meet guys since school. But I want to know how many girls like her and boys like Raph are out there, and when do they start? So far, I haven't really found much research being done into the use of smartphones and the web for flirting and sex, which is amazing, seeing how much a part of modern life it seems to have become. But Professor Andy Pippin has done a big study to ask how young it starts and what under 16s are getting up to.
Well, I did a study around a year ago looking at sexting, so people taking photographs of themselves and sending it off to a partner, and then sometimes it gets sent on to other people as well. And that was talking to 14 to 16-year-olds. We spoke to around 1,000 people with that study.
What type of texts are actually going around?
Well, it was anything really, from bikini shots and underwear shots to topless shots to naked images, videos, people engaged in sexual acts. It was really across the board. A very blasé attitude towards it. We had a quote from one 14-year-old girl saying, I like to fuck, get over it.
Andy's sexting research shows that around 40% of 14 to 16-year-olds know people who do it. But now, he's planning a new study of young people my age, which he hopes will reveal brand new information about what we're getting up to online.
We really want to understand the phenomena of using technology in relationships. 10 years ago, computers were sort of that big and they were in people's homes and the connectivity wasn't great. These days, in my pocket, I've got an iPhone that's more powerful than any of those computers 10 years ago. You have mobile technology, you've got mobile communications, and of course, young people are using these things and thinking, well, what could we do with it? What might we do with it? And which is why we're interested in what they're doing in terms of relationships.
Andy wants to get as many 16 to 24-year-olds as possible to take part in the study. Sex Night on BBC Radio 1 Extra. So I've got some help from Radio 1 to make it happen.
Please welcome everyone the beautiful Natalie Emmanuel to the show.
Hi.
Hello Natalie, how are you?
We met a professor, Mr. Andy Phippen at Plymouth University, and he's doing an online survey. And my addiction to tweeting comes in handy yet again. It's worked. Overnight, hundreds of people have logged onto the anonymous study, giving Andy heaps of data to work through. I'm finding out that Websex technology is developing really fast. A few years ago, you agreed to a date after a few nervous emails. Now I've discovered it can be totally instant. The very latest smartphone apps mean you could have a date with someone you're literally standing next to. Grindr, developed for the gay community, uses the latest GPS technology to put you in touch with other people in the area who are also looking to meet. It was launched in 2009 in the US and quickly took off around the world. It's claimed there are over 2 million users worldwide. And Nick from London is one of its biggest fans. He took me on a tour of Soho, London's gay heartland, where there are more users of this app than anywhere else on the planet.
I'd say all of my gay friends that have iPhones will have a Grindr account. Basically, you go online and then it updates your iPhone and it tells you exactly how far away you are from the nearest gay guy, basically.
But I want to find out what kind of choice you really get with an app like this.
Okay, as you can see, we've got quite a few guys in the general area.
Oh wow, so
because
they're
we're in
all
Soho.
around here now?
Yeah, so if you say like, hey, you know, I like this picture, click on it, and it's a torso pic, which is slightly worrying.
Where is he?
It says he's 450 metres away, Latino.
Oh, a bit of a Latino like
and
that.
he's currently single
Okay.
and looking for dates.
There are now a few apps like this, giving users the chance to scan their neighbourhood for people they like and meet them. But how instant is it? Let's find out.
Okay. Oh look, I've got a message already. Here we go. 24.
Okay.
He's easy going.
276 feet away, so not far.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Okay. Who's gonna like an update on who's getting closer?
I know, yeah. Oh, response. This random guy who like never met before has just said he's at this place and, you know, gonna go meet him.
That is quite weird, but kind of. Even working out who the actual guys might be is fun. Like a treasure hunt where the prize is a man.
Where are you?
Yeah, where are you, man?
So he's just said, are you in GAY? Trade, which is that way, yeah? Okay, this guy apparently is 9 feet away.
You totally just walk off. That's not him in the corner, is it?
Wait, oh my god.
Is that him?
Should we go and ask?
Go and ask him. Hi, is this you?
Is this you?
Hi there, yes.
Hey, nice to meet you.
See you too.
We're just experimenting with Grindr.
You know, seeing how like easy it is to meet guys, just, you know.
Very easy.
It is. Yeah.
So what do you use it for mostly?
Well, I dated someone from Grindr.
Really? Oh.
Pretty good, yeah.
Do you like the look of Nick here? Would you, you know?
Well, it's embarrassing. I'm my friends.
Go on, be honest. You're all friends here.
Well, if I didn't like me, I wouldn't have replied back.
Oh, this is true. This is true.
Okay, yeah.
Very good.
There we have it. Result.
I'm amazed at how many guys are coming up on the app on just one night. Can you see his picture? And they're not bad looking either.
Should we go and ask? Yeah. Okay, so they're like 5 feet away. Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
You alright?
How are you doing? I'm very well.
When you use Grindr, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm not really looking for anyone. Usually when you go out, you don't know who really likes you. Like, if you're quite a shy person, it's really good
Totally.
to know, like, who likes you.
Yeah. I agree, like, it's good because you know that everybody on there is out there to meet other gay guys and it's...
They're looking for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
The amazing thing about these new apps to me is it's like the world of dating's become a big shopping mall. Loads of choice, easy to use, whether you're in a big city like London or right out in the countryside. 24-year-old Becky lives here in Somerset. But now, that doesn't necessarily mean there's less choice about who she meets and how she has fun.
My first, internet hookup was, I was about 15.
What was the appeal of it for you?
To begin with, it was to see if people actually liked me, if they liked how I looked, how I was and everything. And then after a while, it became quite addictive, and it was the danger and excitement of meeting up with random people and just doing whatever. It was in a span of about 6 years. I actually met up with about 40, 45 people.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realise until not that long ago how many people it was, and actually shocked myself.
And did you sleep with all of these people?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So this was going on while you had a boyfriend, or?
Yes, it was going on.
I mean, you were cheating on them. Did you not get a little bit guilty at moments, or?
Only a few of the relationships lasted sort of about 2 or 3 months. So those ones I didn't feel guilty about. But looking back at it now, I know I was the one in the wrong. And I do feel really guilty. I feel just like a horrible, horrible person for doing it.
What was the moment for you that made you come to this conclusion?
I've just come out of a relationship where it was the first time I was 100% faithful to him. And I found out that he'd been doing what I'd been doing in my past. He'd been using the internet to talk to girls, swapping pictures, all sorts. Just changed my perspective on the whole thing. And because I was on the other side of it, I now know how my ex-boyfriends have felt and how I've made them feel and sort of what they think of me.
Would you have gone behind your boyfriend's back if the internet wasn't there? I mean, did it make it easier for you to do?
It made it a lot easier.
It makes it so easy to cheat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone's got sort of an aspect in them that may wander at one point, but the internet does make it too easy, yeah.
So far, I've seen several ways the web is changing our sex lives, how we meet people and how many we meet. But I still need to know the big numbers. Who's using the internet like this? And what are they really getting up to? Professor Andy's Websex study is the first of its kind. He's asked nearly 900 16 to 24-year-olds from across the UK how they're using the internet in their sex lives and relationships. And the headline figure is this. An amazing 80% of those asked have used either a smartphone or the web for some kind of sexual contact. This is the first time anyone's had any kind of figures about how widespread websex is.
I think when I saw you before, I was saying that we want to understand whether this is mainstream or whether this is, deviant behaviour. And I think definitely we can say it's mainstream.
So what are the main things you found?
The vast majority of our respondents are saying that technology had a positive impact on their relationship. Interestingly, the vast majority also say that people behave more promiscuously online than offline, and they behave differently online than offline as well.
I have to agree with that. I mean, a lot of my friends say, social networking destroys your relationships. I have to kind of agree.
I certainly think some of our results would support that. I mean, we're having quite a lot of people saying that online activities have caused problems in their offline relationships, and interestingly, around 20% of people were saying they've met their current or previous sexual partner online now.
Oh, wow.
I think one of the things that really surprised us, I guess because it is very new technology, is of those people that use webcams in explicit interactions, around 40% of them were happy to do that with a stranger.
Are you talking about Websex?
Yeah, Websex, in a lot of cases with strangers.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought it would be. That's actually really surprising.
We asked the question, all right, if you have met up with a stranger online and then you meet up with them offline, what is it you're meeting up with them for? Now, not the majority, but certainly a large proportion of our respondents said they met up for casual sex. So we found that quite alarming. If we're talking about a large percentage of the population of this age, then meeting up, it does demonstrate, again, a very relaxed attitude to sexual relationships, and is technology facilitating that. So I think really what we're saying is in a few years it's gone from no one using this sort of technology because basically it wasn't possible, to a large number of people using this sort of technology to engage in explicit practices. But also what we're seeing is a pushing of the boundaries with it. All right, we're doing this, it's becoming mainstream, what else might we do with it? I think that's the interesting thing, is if this is what's happened in this time frame, what's going to happen in another 10 years? What sorts of things are going to be possible in another 10 years? And what sorts of things are people going to be doing in another 10 years?
According to the study, more than 1 in 10 reveal they've met a stranger off the internet for casual sex. It's easy to see why this is a thrill that's on online. People often say there's something more exciting about meeting a stranger. But it's also the thing that lands some people in a place like this, seeing Dr. Chris Scott at one of Britain's busiest sex clinics. So, is Websex making any difference to the number of people he sees?
So currently we're seeing a massive increase in sexual infections in the UK, and year on year over the past few years we've seen a rise in gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis and HIV. We haven't seen necessarily a rise in sexual infections because of social networking. There has been an association with this. No research has been done specifically looking at whether using Websex or Websex apps has increased sexual infection transmission in the UK.
Why hasn't there been any research before?
Probably because social networking sites are being used now for different purposes. I mean, previously they were a way of keeping in touch with friends, keeping in touch with family, and not used for the purpose of meeting up for starting relationships or for having sex. There's been some information coming from the States and some studies showing that there's possibly been an association with people using social networking sites and increased rates of infections, particularly syphilis.
So I want to know, are there any good things about the way technology is changing our sex lives? Using webcams or phones for video or cybersex? Surely that's totally STI-free.
I think obviously it's a safe form of sex if there's no kind of sexual contact, so there's no risk of sexually transmitted infections. Allows people to explore their sexuality as well, and there's some good information out there on the internet about sex.
So what do you think the future is with this relationship between the internet and sexually transmitted infections?
Internet's not going to go away. I think more and more people are going to use these sites to meet other people. Are they fueling a rise in sexual infections? The answer is possibly yes. I don't think they're making you have unprotected sex, but I certainly think the opportunity is there to be able to take risks, because I'm meeting people impromptu, they're meeting people spontaneously, and perhaps not thinking about their sexual health when they're having sex.
It sounds like the world's safest form of sex is right here on the internet, using webcams. And looking about, it seems like there's been quite an explosion in the amount of sites hooking up strangers using cams. The Websex study reveals that over 50% of those asked have used webcams for cybersex, and over a third of them do it with strangers. But it's something few people want to talk about in public.
I'd never ever do that in my life. I'd never do that. I just think that's just really weird.
I definitely reckon more people do it than admit to doing it.
My friends have long distance relationships and they use camming to masturbate.
I don't agree with camming sites because why do you need to do that on websites? Why can't you just keep it to yourself?
But 23-year-old Kane is happy to talk in detail about using these camming sites for explicit fun. He used to do it regularly, and he can't see anything wrong with it.
I used to start off with innocent flirting, just be talking about life, and then towards the end of the night, it's like they're really sexual. I'd start to see tits and get naked on camera. I'll get naked too. Let's go for it. And then once you're naked, you're like, well, now we're both naked. I might as well take this further. So I'd literally just go, let's wank. You can do whatever, I wank, we watch each other, it'll be fun.
Right, cool.
I got a naked girl in front of me. What's in my mind, the worries and doubts, gone with the nakedness.
Now, I'm going to give this webcamming a go. But I think I might keep my clothes on.
How are you? I've got a feeling. Oh, he's a guy.
And he's 20.
And he's 20. Okay. Do you think he's going to be...
You see?
Straight away, he's put horny, question mark.
Question mark.
Question mark.
Pretty much, that's how, that's how it goes. Hello, how are you? Female, my age, I'm horny. Are you?
Not really, no.
It'll disconnect from you, but it'll be connected to someone else. And if they say no, connect to someone else. And it'll go on like that. There's plenty more fish in the sea. That's kind of the saying. If someone says no, you just move on.
Kane first began using the internet for sex in his early teens. He started with chat and moved on to cameras later.
How did you get into using the internet for web sex with people online?
I think because I was really shy. I used the internet to teach me about sex and how to use it. It just gave me that training ground to test everything I wanted to try with a woman without being in person and getting hit.
But I mean, I'd be quite wary of going on camera with someone I didn't know. I think that I'd find that quite...
unnerving?
I find that a bit scary, actually.
Kane shows me a recently introduced website where you get connected randomly to people who are also on their cams.
Oh, God! It's a penis!
I've disconnected from that one.
I'm actually going to go red. That's so funny. No, that was wrong. I'm sorry. It was like he was ready to go. He was like aroused and ready to go.
A room full of girls. Hello. Where are you from?
You didn't want to talk to you?
Yeah,
alright.
It's as simple as that. Try another one. And a cock again. There's another one there.
It's Wednesday afternoon. We were just at home.
There seems to be from all over the world as well.
Well, yeah. But
see,
still.
Another one. They're everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just a bit weird.
I think I knew that it goes on, but I've just never seen it so in my face before. But it was very amusing. I do understand why people sort of find it quite funny and exciting. So, I can kind of see why people do it. But I'd be very conscious of doing anything explicit over the internet because I'd be quite wary of that. I don't know if it's just because I'm a girl or because I'm, I don't know. I just find it a bit creepy almost.
From my experience today, I'd say there are loads more men than women doing this, and very few people are willing to show their face, just other bits of their body. In fact, being open about your identity in the websex world is obviously an issue for quite a lot of people. Fake profiles and pictures are common, and with around 30 billion pics uploaded to Facebook alone last year, this is hard to stop. A victim of this is glamour model Brandy. She's constantly battling against people who are stealing her online images. They pretend to be her on social networking sites and write graphic messages in her name.
Well, basically, I've had to report quite a few Facebook fakes, and I'm pretty sure that they're having online sexual relationships with guys.
So what type of things have you?
Yeah, fake me.
With fake you?
Yeah.
Been saying to these men?
Well, there's one of like my model pictures of me like on a bed writing, and it says, "Oh, I've just got in from school, writing a list of all the boys I satisfied behind the bike shed." And then call me for sex, yeah, and like I'm gonna give you a blowjob and stuff like that. Like crazy, like, do you know what I mean? It is laughable, but like when I'm reading it, I'm like, who the fuck is saying this shit about me? Because obviously I wouldn't write that on the internet about myself. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I've got respect for myself. And obviously then like my boyfriend's showing me it in black and white saying, well, it's there, you can't deny it. And I'm like, well, obviously it is there, but I haven't put it there.
So how many times has this actually happened to you now?
Well, up till now it's 6 Facebook fakes that I've had to report.
And have you ever met anybody that thinks that they know you because of they've been talking to the fake profile?
Sometimes I get a little bit freaked out when I'm on the tube. Like I was on my way back home from a shoot. I was like sat there and this guy was like literally like right in my face like this, like closer than we are now. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, is this one of those freaks that thinks that they're having an online sexual relationship with me? Like, I was just like, oh my God, like, I could have been speaking to him last night, and he could be like thinking, come on, are you going to give me my blowjob you promised me last night, or what?
It must be quite upsetting.
It is. It makes me feel physically sick at times. Like, it's horrible. That somebody out there is like impersonating you.
Brandy's been lucky so far. She's been able to remove her pictures when they've been misused. But once any image is uploaded onto the web, it can be very hard to take down, and could stay there forever. Which means it could appear anywhere or be seen by anyone, like friends or future employers. And now I've heard that webcam images may not be safe either. This is computer expert Tristan Webb.
It's really easy to think that when you're talking to somebody, you're just talking to them, but you may not be just talking to them because they could be recording everything that you're doing on your webcam. They can do what's called a screen cap. They hit record on their computer and they capture everything that's coming across their desktop.
So I could be speaking to somebody online via webcam, and they could be recording and I would have no idea. And then that could end up anywhere, I guess.
It could go anywhere. In fact, there's lots of sites where people just post videos of screen caps.
Yeah. A quick Google search, and Tristan brings some of the sites up on screen.
It's so easy to do.
Oh! So these people don't know that they're on there?
No.
Oh, that is awful. If that was me, I think I'd be devastated, I'd be embarrassed, I'd be upset, I'd be angry. Just have to live with that humiliation. And
you may never even find out that someone's done that. And
exactly.
In fact, you wouldn't even know if I'd put this on one of those video sites I was showing you earlier, would you? Unless someone told you and you found out the hard way.
It seems pretty scary that some people would go to all this effort, and I'm wondering how common it really is. But in fact, a victim of it has got in touch with me, frightened to be identified because of what had happened to her.
Well, basically it started when I joined an online site after I broke up with my ex-boyfriend. Exchanging pictures led to just doing things on webcam, obviously.
Like webcam sex or?
Pretty much, yeah. Obviously they were sending pictures back, but whether they were them or not is dubious.
Okay, so you didn't get any alarm bells then to say, oh...
No, it'd just be, oh, my cam's broken or I don't have one. I thought nothing of it really until one of them, who I've been texting to for a while, told me that he wasn't who I thought he was.
Right.
He said, you know, I've been using this fake profile and that kind of thing. Basically what had been going on was they've been posting the pictures I'd sent onto a website, and they'd also video me while on cam, which I didn't think was possible to do, and then sharing the videos around with thousands of other people on the same forum, and they could then download them to their phones. It's what they call a phone porn site, where they post pictures of girls who they know from everywhere, ex-girlfriends, Facebook, absolutely anywhere. They're getting as many as they can from every source they can think of.
So are they physically seeking out people to then exploit in the way that they did you?
Yes, well what was on it, they goad each other into it and tip each other off about people that will actually do the things that they want them to do. And then different people will target them with fake profiles or fake MSN addresses to try and get them to do the things that the other guys have got them to do.
Did you find out who did it?
Yes, I identified 2 people one who'd attempted and one who actually had, because obviously we'd met each other as friends and things like that. I was upset and angry at the same time, so a lot of yelling and a lot of crying basically, but he didn't seem too bothered by my reaction. He said he didn't owe me an explanation and that he'd done nothing wrong.
Can you tell me a bit about how you felt when you first discovered that, your videos and images have been posted?
Complete mortification. I felt sick. Who's seen them? If where I work got hold of them, what would then happen? And maybe I'd end up losing my job. What other people would think? If my friends had found out? If my family had found out?
Did you have to contact the site yourself to get them taken down?
I did, yes. I contacted the admin. They kept saying things like, we don't really like taking pictures of girls like you down and things like this, but they did remove it. However, getting the videos deleted from the external servers they've been uploaded to was a lot more difficult. It took the person who'd actually done it to get that removed, despite several emails to the server's website.
How could they not understand what it's done to you? I mean, why do you think they were being so blasé and so, uncaring about it?
Well, they seem to think that whatever the girl sends is theirs to distribute as and how they want. As in, they seem to think these girls are slags, they'll do this, that and the other.
So they thought, you asked for it, basically?
Yeah, pretty much.
And this case isn't the only example of a darker world on the internet, where text messages, pictures and videos can fall into the wrong hands. The academic study shows that nearly 10% of those asked have had pictures or videos of them passed on to others, and half of those were to complete strangers. This can cause embarrassment and humiliation. People have lost relationships, moved jobs and even towns because of it. But what kind of person would do this? Well, it seems it could be anyone. Meet Peter, who decided to get revenge on a girlfriend using some of her pictures.
So tell me a little bit about what happened.
Basically, it was a while back now. My girlfriend, basically, she cheated on me with someone, sort of friend of mine, who I'd actually introduced her to. She was very into her Facebook. So I decided a good way to get her back would be I knew her password, and I had some intimate photos that had been taken during sex, that sort of thing. And I thought a good way to do it, so I just would be to change her profile picture to a picture of her sort of playing with herself, fully naked. It was quite graphic. I also changed her status, sort of occupation, all those sort of things.
To what?
I can't remember 100%, but it was just sort of along the lines of I love sucking cock. I sucked 50 cocks last night, just that sort of thing. You can kind of imagine just the general tone of it.
In my opinion, I do think what you did was bang out of order in a lot of ways. I mean, she allowed you to take an image of her in an intimate setting, and then you kind of breached that intimacy. And I know that she did first, but I just feel like that is taking it to some next level thing.
I'm aware. I'm aware it's a bit of a bad thing to do. I felt a certain level of justification,
because she cheated on you.
Yeah, in the heat of the moment, that sort of thing.
People can save those images and then post them on other sites, like porn sites. How would you feel if that had happened to your ex-girlfriend as a result of what you did?
At the time, probably would have been a good thing. Now, I'd feel very bad about it because we're friends now.
People would have, as a result of this type of thing, have had to leave their area. Have had to move schools from bullying. In some cases in America, people have actually attempted or have successfully taken their own lives. I mean, how would you feel if it had gone to that extent?
I'm not too sure. I didn't really think about that at the time. This is breaking it down for me, actually. This is bringing remorse home. I have to go and ring it afterwards. It wasn't a nice thing. It wasn't a nice thing to do.
I kind of get the impression that we highlighted a lot of things to Peter that he probably would never have thought of. And I think we got him thinking a little bit about the repercussions, short-term and long-term, of posting that picture.
Peter just seems like a normal bloke, but it's amazing what people can do in the heat of the moment on the web.
Yeah.
And it could affect so many of us. Half of the people in the study send pics regularly to friends or partners, including me. But if things do go seriously wrong, what laws are there to protect you? Felicity Gerry is a leading barrister specialising in sexual offences.
From a legal point of view, Websex, what is the harm?
There's nothing wrong with sex. Everybody does it,
and sometimes the modern way of doing it is online. That of itself is not a crime. The issue arises often when one of the parties involved is underage, or if there's some sort of harassment or bullying, that sort of thing. Sexting, for example, is, or can be, the distribution of indecent images of children, because the law prohibits sending messages, indecent messages, sexual messages, if a person is under 18.
Would someone be prosecuted if they had done that type of thing with someone they didn't know was under 18?
It would very much depend on the circumstances as to whether it would be in the public interest to prosecute, but the mere fact of sending an indecent image of someone under the age of 18 could be a crime.
If someone who's under 18 says, oh, I want to send a picture of myself to my boyfriend, does that apply to them also?
Well, I suspect in theory yes, but I think it's very unlikely that something like that would be prosecuted. Where it tends to arise, and I'll use a boy as an example, is investigated for having underage sex. The girl doesn't want to complain, it was a consensual affair. But as part of the investigation, his phone is seized or his computer's seized because they've been chatting online. And the police discover that he's got lots of images of lots of underage girls that he's been exchanging with his mates. It could then be that the police take the view that it's in the public interest to prosecute because of the amount of distribution that there is.
Wow. But the law can only go so far where Websex is concerned.
You can't say cross your legs till you're 16, switch your webcam off till you're 16. But you can try and say, don't masturbate on camera, and don't do anything underage, and educate them as to what the risks are, because they don't always know who's at the other end.
I've seen the world of Websex constantly changing, and whatever you want on the web you can almost certainly get. And now I've found one site where webcam sex has gone to a new level. Girls and boys invite not just one, but hundreds or thousands of viewers to watch them perform online. These performances can sometimes get very explicit, and on certain websites you can get paid by each viewer to reveal more. After months of searching, I've been contacted by a girl who agreed to talk anonymously about exactly what she does on these websites and why. She told me when her next performance would be, so I log on somewhere else to see what she does.
I think she's extremely brave. I mean, it must take a lot of confidence to do this to complete strangers. But she's got quite a following, and they seem to be really enjoying it, so... Oh, someone should show us some clunge, please.
After the performance ends, I'm invited round to her bedroom to see where it all happens. Though she's happy to perform openly online to thousands of people, she wants to talk anonymously to me.
How long have you been doing the camming?
I initially first started when I was still 17, so for the past 2 years.
And what type of things do you do on these cam sites?
Well, whatever I feel comfortable with, usually, which tends to be gradually getting naked and then some various sorts of masturbation and whatever they fancy watching.
Why do you do camming?
Just because it was quite exciting, I suppose. It's such a huge confidence boost to have all these people saying all these nice things, and it's nice to know that you found attracted by all these people. So.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yes, I've been with him for 3 years.
How does he feel about the camming?
He was a bit upset when he first found out, but he has come to terms with it mostly since then, and he's okay.
Okay, so would you consider it to be cheating?
No, I wouldn't.
I want to see what happens on screen when you're the performer, so she switches her cam on one more time.
This is the first website I started using. Okay. You make yourself a little profile, essentially, and then when you're ready, you can hit the broadcast button there. The webcam connects.
So how many people are watching you now?
Currently there's about 160 users actually on watching right now.
Oh, look, hey, baby. Bit flirty.
Yes, it's quite a lot of babe. It says babe. I'm a very horny man.
Okay, so he's just jumped right in. 2-1 for that cardigan, best take it off.
There are a few good lines, yeah. And to be honest, there would always be a request for that like one step further, no matter how naked and masturbating I was. There would always be somebody who would want something else.
Something even more.
Something more, yeah.
I met a guy and he was showing me something called capping, or screen capping. Have you heard of that before?
Yes, I have actually been capped myself, apparently. I'm sure people do it all the time.
Oh, wow. And that doesn't worry you?
No, not really. I'm sure if I was going to go into some sort of high-up career, like being a politician or something, it would worry me. But so long as people keep it to themselves, I can't really see anything that could do with it.
Well, you can't guarantee that they're going to keep it to themselves.
Well, equally, I can't see any harm that's going to come of it, really.
Some people might look at that and go, that's wrong, or you've gone too far there. Like, how would you argue that?
I wouldn't. I suppose they're right in saying that if that's what they like, but I'm quite happy doing it. I'm quite happy talking to people and getting this little confidence boost, so...
You just feel like you're not hurting anyone, so...
Yeah, exactly. This is what I quite enjoy doing in my spare times. Yeah, like you say, not hurting anyone else.
It's still shocking to me that people do it, but you know, from what I've seen from that site, that a lot of people are doing it. I mean, she's getting 6,000 views. I mean, that's a lot of people just to see this one girl. So, you know, it's obviously a very popular thing to do. So I can't really, you know, dismiss it as bad. I'm just saying that it's down to personal preference. I'm still thinking how normal she seems as a person, and also how normal what she does seems to her. For me, it looks like some camming is bordering on the world of porn. But could it be there's something about the internet that makes you feel safer and gives you loads more confidence? In the study, 80% of people said you can be more promiscuous online.
Performing to strangers, nude and like sexual acts, I just find it really, really... I don't know, I just find it really strange.
I think people can be more promiscuous online than offline because it's something new, it's something exciting.
The worst thing that can happen if you say something that they think is a bit too kinky is that they'll disconnect and go on to the next person.
It's like, oh, you're never going to see this person, so you might as well say anything that you want to say to them.
As this world of websex provides us with even more ways to experiment, I'm left thinking, what, if anything, is this doing to our heads? Emma Kenny is a relationship psychologist who's kept a close eye on all these new developments.
I've met loads of people who have used websex in different ways, and I've heard some quite amazing stories. Some a little bit weird, some a little bit shocking, some worrying, but mostly people are quite positive. They're like, you know, it gives me confidence, I've learnt something.
One of the great things about social networking and cyber activity is that it brings people together. So if you were somebody who would have been isolated, for example, if you're a gay young man living in a rural environment, you may not have felt comfortable expressing yourself or feeling part of a community. The web's amazing because it gives you the opportunity to see that firstly you're totally normal, and secondly there are loads of people who mirror those feelings, and that can be a real confidence booster. So it has an absolute place. It also enables people to express themselves physically and sexually, hopefully in a safe environment with a trusting partner. In those circumstances, it can be an additional bonus to an existing great sex life.
As amazing as websex is, it kind of promotes people to behave in a more unusual, weird way than they probably would in their everyday lives. Like, why is that?
If I'm a person who sits at home and imagines what sex would be like with a bag on my head, then once upon a time I may have thought, well, nobody else is talking about having sex with a bag on the head. Nowadays, I type into the internet, want to have sex with a bag on my head, and you bet your bottom dollar there'll be 100,000 people affiliated to a site. And what that says to me is actually, maybe what I want isn't that strange. Yeah. It makes perfect sense that people who may have once thought, that's a boundary I probably shouldn't push, are more likely to think, well, have other people pushed it? Okay, then I'll have a go. If that's with a trusted individual, okay. But when you're doing things that ordinarily on a face-to-face level you wouldn't feel comfortable with, you have to ask yourself the question, why am I carrying out a behaviour with potentially a group of individuals I've never met that I would feel completely uncomfortable doing with people who I know?
Why do you think that they are engaging in this activity if they're not comfortable doing it with people they know?
The reality of websex is that it does disassociate you. You don't feel that you're actually having a lived experience. It's almost a bit like being with a television and not with adult human beings or other people. It's very much a personal experience as opposed to a shared experience. And that's the irony, because it's probably the most exposed shared experience you're ever likely to encounter, because one click and another 5 million people can see you doing something that you may have felt was only being shared with one.
Do you think a lot more guys are almost reluctant to do the work of getting into a relationship because they can quite easily find a girl on Facebook or some other social networking site?
Yeah, people are hooking up more and more and more. Social networking is a perfect avenue. Young people are very clever and will find the best route to achieve what they want. But long term, I doubt it will answer their needs.
When it comes to websex, do we know what the future holds? I mean, are we all going to be doing this soon?
From a psychological point of view, what we do know is that more and more young people are spending like 30 to 37 hours a week sat in front of a screen. Now that means that they're not having contact with other human beings during that period. And that does have long-term psychological implications. Relationships should be on a physical one-to-one level, where you're being with people, relating to people, actually in reality. So the long-term implications of becoming isolated have got psychological implications. And realistically, anybody out there should go out of their way to engage in productive one-to-one relationships and friendships that really do reinforce our self-worth.
From everything I've seen, I think Websex will probably have changed a lot, even in just a few years' time. I hear that the app I tested out for the gay community earlier has now got a version that straight people can use. I want to see it and get a sense of things to come. So I'm meeting Emma Barnett, who's a technology writer.
And there I am.
Fun Emma.
Fun Emma.
Love it.
Let's not advertise that. Right. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of men on here.
Yeah, loads. There's hardly any girls.
There's basically one girl there called Olga, stuck in the middle of what looks like lots of topless, actually, men.
Obviously trying to show people the hardware.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a dating service, you sort of want to show what you've got.
Looking at the screen full of half-naked men, I can't see much difference from the gay version. But I'm not actually that surprised that so few women seem interested. It involves revealing precise details of where you are to strangers, and maybe women just don't feel as happy about that.
Now you're putting a picture, you're putting quite a lot of information about yourself, and they know where you are. That's the really big difference now. So if you do have a really naughty conversation with someone, they can come and find you at the end of it. And 9 times out of 10 this won't happen, but they could take what you said really seriously and think you're up for it there and then. And you could be in a situation where you're really regretting what you've said. Plus, the people behind these businesses are doing it because they can make money. And the way that they can make money, people don't often think about. You're not paying to use Grindr, you're not paying to use Blender. And the way you are paying is you're giving them all your data. So anything you put in there, photos, information, likes, dislikes, the people who own that app are making the money, and they're making the money out of you.
So these technologies that we're using for relationships and sex, where is it heading? What is the future for this?
I can conceivably see a day where, how we search for stuff online, like we look up the latest band we want to buy the CD for, or see, any type of product or service. We're very used to searching for information. And now we've sort of got a social phase of the web, like Facebook. We're used to searching for people.
So do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's making people a little bit more like products, and people are learning how to market themselves. And we've always done that in real life, the way we put makeup on or hair or whatever we're doing. But it's just making it a little bit more like we're something for sale.
Looking back on what I've seen and experienced with Websex, it's become clear to me that the question, what's the harm, is more complicated than for sex in the real world. I've met people whose lives have been made better by using the internet for meeting people and for sex. And with webcam